Hello guys, we're back. I feel like I'm going to come back to this a lot because I feel like I was trying to write a newsletter for the last like 4 days. Probably spent about better part of like 5-6 hours on it. Maybe 5-6 hours. Maybe I'm lying to myself, but it's just difficult to write some ideas. It's like I can't structure it. You know, when I speak, because there's no structure and because like I just enjoy the subjects, it just flows out. And then I can go back and I can redo it. But just me putting everything on paper, like it's very difficult for me to put everything on paper and then sort it out. But on video, I can put everything on video and then I can sort it out, no problem. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Yeah, let me just check if I can see. If you can see. Okay, yes, you can see me quite well, and the light's actually doing me quite nicely. Yes, I feel like when I speak, I can speak all day. If you know me in person, you already know I can speak all day. So I feel like this is actually a really good, and I can play between the two. I'll see how it goes. But for this week, I'll do a little video and a little writing, because I've written some stuff about, on this book, one of my favorite books. I read this. When did I read this? I think I read this in the first lockdown. Oh, it's just so good. Sapiens. It literally explains, very briefly, a brief history of humankind. It's literally just that, and it talks about what makes us us. Like, how is it that like out of all the species on this planet, yeah, out of like the 8 million or whatever, we pretty much own this whole planet. I'm not gonna lie. Like, let's be honest, innit? At one point we were nothing in the human chain, in the chain of like other species, and the pyramid of what do you want to call it? I forgot the name for it, but like in terms of like who's the king of the jungle, the lion, these that will destroy us. Like, there's so many animals out there that will just completely destroy us in the wild, but here we are today, like pretty much running everything. How is that? How did that happen? And it talks about how, like, one of the things was the cognitive revolution. Like, one of the biggest things was our brain. How did our brain develop over these years, over the millions of years? And it basically talks about like the 2.5 million years, about how we got here, and like even actually no, the 2.5 million years of us, how long we've been here on this earth. And I thought today, let me talk a little bit about what was before the earth, just because it gives a good perspective of like what it means when we talk about like 2 million years that we've been here, 2.5 million years that we as like a bipedal human being have been here. Like, there's loads of versions of us, but how did we get here? That's what this book talks about. But I want to talk about like a little bit before that, and then I want to talk about this as well. Hello guys. I just wanted to say I'm capping. There is literally no part of the time before humans were not arrived on Earth, but humans evolved to be on Earth. This is literally about the 2.5 billion years that humans were on the Earth. So I was capping, I'm sorry. Maybe another time I will talk about that if you guys are interested. I wanted to, but then I got completely distracted because I've got the attention span of a flipping 4-year-old. So you're gonna have to bear with me. Anyway, love. So yeah, this book basically talks about like what makes us us. Like, how do we conquer the Earth? It talks about like how our brains helped with this, like how it developed, like how religion brought us together, how money made it easy for us to trade, because before that we didn't really have a way to. Before, like, imagine you wanted a banana. I was like, alright, cool. I'll give you a bunch of bananas. You make my house for me. Do you know what I mean? Before it was just a trade of like, you give me this, I give you this. But now, when money came out, it was like, oh look, all of a sudden, like, obviously it's not euros, but like, 10 shells, yeah, 10 shillings, yeah. Like, I can trade you 10 shillings and I can trade that with anyone. Whereas before, if he built my house for me for bananas, he can only trade with people who want bananas. Do you know what I mean? Sounds silly, but it's like, if you have money now, if everyone values money, like, you can trade with anyone you want. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, we literally just made it up. Like, what is money? Like, if we all wiped our memory, the euro wouldn't exist. The Great British Pound wouldn't exist, or whatever. Like, whatever currency you have out there, dollars or whatever. Yeah, there's just loads of stuff. It's just very interesting. It is quite thick, I'm not gonna lie, but if you're interested, you can have a read. I wanted to talk specifically about how. Well, I had one question. How should we be training as humans? Like, like I talk a lot about like biomechanics and how we should move and how like we the footwear we wear affects us, and like how we weren't meant to wear footwear for like millions of years. We were hunter gatherers. Like probably about 90% of our existence we were hunter gatherers, and then only 12,000 years ago we settled down into like the farmers, and then only recently like we became like the businessman, and like the industrial revolution came, and we ended up going along the route of like, all right, cool, we work a 9 to 5 and we earn our money and we work for a company, and all this stuff. But for like 9% of our evolutionary process, like what made us, we literally just ran around and like hunted for stuff. Isn't that crazy? Like it just sounds crazy to me. And even before that, like everything had a purpose, like not in terms of like existential, is that the right term? Like not in terms of like emotional purpose, but like in terms of like in nature, this would eat that, that would eat that, like the cow would eat the grass, and the cow would get eaten by this, and there's all these types of relationships you would have, like mutualistic relationship, whatever you call it in bio, I don't even know. And everything had a chain of events, like chain of, I'm gonna find this word. Okay, the food chain. We were nothing in the food chain, and all of a sudden, like, we literally owned the world. Isn't that crazy? Like, how did we do that? That's what this kind of goes through. And yeah, like in the food chain, like we had a specific, like, we'd eat a certain food, and we'd live in certain areas. Like, well, when I say live in certain areas, like butterflies live in the trees, like monkeys would climb trees, and snakes would live in like tall grass, and stuff like that. Sounds silly, but it's like everything has a purpose, like a monkey has like a different foot structure to us, and they can climb trees easier. They've got pretty much four hands, like everything has a purpose. We were meant to move in a certain way, like run, sprint, throw, squat. That's what our body was made for. Whereas a butterfly, do you think a butterfly can do like a barbell back squat? Nah, like, I can't do a press up, because like nature didn't make it that way. And what do we mean by nature made it that way? Well, over 2 million years, it was literally, well, for us for 2 million years, but for billions of years, it's always been survival of the fittest. If you find a place for yourself in the food chain, or in the natural hierarchy of things, you will survive. All, like, for me to be alive today, there had to have been millions of versions of humans of my body that had to die. Like they didn't adapt well enough. I am the product of all of that process where one person has a mutation, and they become faster, and now all of a sudden, or they have more endurance, and all of a sudden they can chase monkeys and chase baboons, and they can kill other animals that I can't, because I'll gas out. And now this version of human will survive, because he's more likely to pass down the gene. He's more likely to survive. He'll pass the gene down, and now I'm gonna die. And this whole process had to go again and again and again and again and again, until like slowly you see like the typical picture of like human evolution. You see like let me just. You see this picture, and it's like from here to here we've done a lot of stuff, and that's how we were. Like this picture, this person, I hope you can see this person is only us in the last 200 years, and this was us for like the last 2.49999 million years. That's like 99% of our existence. That was us. What does that mean in terms of like how we should live? Like, we spend a lot of time in shoes. We spend a lot of time indoors, where normally we'd be spending a lot of time outdoors. Isn't that crazy? Like how we have decided, like, all right, cool, we have so many health problems. You think like we would at least like optimize ourselves based on our evolutionary process. Like we're meant to be outdoors, breathe through your noses, drink a lot of water, obviously. General health stuff that is kind of like we've been told, but simple things like breathing through your nose. Like most people have a deviated septum, which is like if you can't breathe through one nose the same as the other. Like if I go like this nostril, I can't breathe through the same as that one. Isn't that crazy? Like why can't I? Because I spend a lot of time indoors. I spend a lot of time breathing through my mouth. This is like harmful. Like right now, I took a breath through my mouth. A lot of people, they'll be like, if you watch people speak, yeah, they will speak, and then they go, yeah. And then, do you see that I breathed through my mouth? These are things like we weren't evolved to do. Like for the 2.5 million years, we had fresh air. We were outside. We had like, we didn't need ventilation at the time because fresh air. There's a lot of wind. But now I'm breathing the same recycled air. If I don't open these windows, there's like most of the air I'm breathing is the same, and there's a lot of dust in the air. I don't know if you can see it now. I spend a lot of time in shoes when I was supposed to spend time like barefoot. I don't spend time in nature where I normally would. Like simple things like spending time in the sun. We don't spend as much time in the sun that we would have. Like if you're outdoors versus indoors, clearly you're not going to spend the same amount of time in the sun. Yeah, sorry guys, got interrupted. But yeah, like it's crazy to think like this is like our evolution for like 2.5 million years, right? And we completely ignore it. Like, for example, I was thinking like the way we train. Like I go in the gym, yeah, and I train like the barbell squat and like all of that stuff. But that's not what I evolved to do. Do you know what I mean? Why am I ignoring that? Alright, cool, yeah. So this random. Some of the stuff I was thinking about, like we don't breathe through our nose. Like I read this book, Breathe by James Nestor, where he literally, what they done was they covered their nose for like 2 weeks and they just breathe through their mouth. And like, if you just read about some of the story, like I'll talk about it in another newsletter because it is valuable. Like it's so important. Like that book was so important for me. Just seeing like how much your physiology is affected by just breathing through your mouth is insane. Basically, he talks about how most of us breathe like, I think 15 to 20 times a minute, and a breath would be inhale, I go. So that would be like 2 breaths. Whereas actually we were designed to make about inhale 6 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds, approximately 4 to 6 seconds. If you try that now, like I go, that's really long. Like I can tell my carbon dioxide like levels are like too high for me. I'm not used to that. Like I'm struggling to do that. I would not be able to do that for a long period of time. We were designed to breathe slow, way slower, and through our nose. We weren't designed to like the posture I have now, like this. We weren't designed to sit like this all the time. We're designed to move, stand, walk, run. Whereas I spend a lot of time sitting. Like, how do you think my body's going to affect? How do you think my body's going to react to that? Like, if I'm going to spend my time in a poor posture all day, like, how would I feel mentally? Do you know what I mean? If you look at someone's, if you've been in the gym before, you know, like, if you fix your posture and if you get in the gym, like, you would walk a bit high, walk a bit more upright, you'd have a bit better posture, and you feel better. Your physiology, your body and mind are very, very related. Like, it's been known for a long time. So I don't know why we expect, like, personally, I say other people, but personally for me, like, I don't think I value my posture as much as I should. Like, I should be sitting, like, let's see. So I should be sitting, you know, like this. But obviously, over time, if you watch, like, I've noticed this, like, recently, if I watch, like, my posture will go slowly, like, I'll go like this, and I'll just go like this. Like, this is how I'll be on my computer. You know, obviously, I've got to reach forward, and, like, I'm sitting down. That's some of the reasons why my posture is terrible. But, you know, we can have a little bit of awareness, and we can fix it a little bit if we want to. So anyway, that's one thing. Spending time barefoot, I already talked about that. The last one, I'm going to go about it all day. Like, I can go on about it all day. I'll make other videos on that because I've got so much more stuff that I haven't even gone on to mention. But I feel like because like a lot of people like that listen or watch, the few people that do listen, I don't think everyone has the right introduction to the stuff I want to talk about. Like me reading all these books like Sapiens and Breathe and all these different books that I've read, and like the articles I've listened to and I've read and the podcasts I've listened to, they've kind of affected my mental image of how we should be living as humans. So I feel like for me to introduce you to the mental image on day 100 without telling you about day 1 and day 2 and day 3, you know, it wouldn't give you the full image. You know, I'm only giving you one piece of the puzzle when I should be giving you a full image. For me talking to you about this, I know it sounds like, oh, it's not really going anywhere, but it's like, it's every single small thing I'll give you where I'll give you a bigger picture. You'll see as I talk more, and like as I get more technical, and as I improve my own posture, and I improve my own like foot structure, and I improve my own ability to breathe, because I breathe a lot through my mouth when I shouldn't be. Like I'll have a better structure, a better system for it, and that system, it won't make sense without like having the full picture. So that's the whole purpose of like me talking about this stuff, like in brief. Like I'm going very shallow, I'm not going very deep in all the subjects right now in this one and in the other ones, but eventually I will. Bear with me. So yeah, chewing. We don't chew our food. Half the stuff we eat. You know, there's this one time, like one of my friends, he vomited his food out, and we must have had McDonald's, and like you could see like the chips were still intact. That should not be the case. Like you should. It sounds stupid. It sounds kind of disgusting actually, but you know, like you should be chewing to the point where it's literally mush. I know it's weird, but it's like that's how we were supposed to digest food. Like we release enzymes in the mouth to digest food. Like all of this stuff affects our physiology. You know, more cold exposure. Like over the time, like because we spend a lot of time outdoors, we would have way more cold exposure. Like, you know, a cold shower. If you've had a cold shower in the morning, you already know what I'm talking about. You can feel different. Like there'll be times like I've had a bad day and I'll have it'll be like 1 p.m. and I'll have a cold shower and like my day will change. Wasn't as dramatic. Literally it will change. Obviously stuff like we normally, like nowadays we have a lot of possessions, and like if you look at hunter-gatherer tribes, they literally have like 5 things they carry on them. That kind of stuff I feel like is talked about a lot. You know, we attach ourselves to a lot of things. I'm not going to talk about that as much because I feel like that stuff is already like, I've seen that a lot in other mediums like, you know, Instagram and YouTube and all of that stuff. But this kind of stuff that I want to talk about, like, is stuff that I feel like is not talked about. You know, I think that's where the value is. Why would you listen to me? Why am I having this conversation in the first place? Like, why would you keep turning out? Why would you keep listening? You know, if I'm talking about the same stuff, that's how I see it. If I'm not bringing value to you, there's no reason for you to keep coming. Sounds kind of like objective, but it kind of is in that sense. But yeah, like stuff like that, breathing, fixing your posture. Again, you can see like my posture's already destroyed. Like it's already gone down. Do you know what I mean? Like it's difficult. Like sometimes like there's positions that I can't even like get myself into because my body's like spent a lot of time in the poor postures. How can I push myself in that posture? I can't create force in this position. Like if I watch myself in the gym, I can't even like do high rows while keeping my neck and sternum in line, because I'm just been in such a dysfunctional position all my life. Like I literally can't get into that position. I can't breathe through my nose like subconsciously. Like I have to think about it. Chewing more, I have to think about that. You know, spending time barefoot. I can't put my feet in certain positions. Like if you look at a baby's foot, their foot, they don't have bunions. Have you ever seen a baby with a bunion? Isn't like you've never seen a baby with a bunion? Come on, like it's your shoes, man. Like if you just take out the sole of your shoe, your foot does not fit in that. Your foot does not fit in that. What do you think is happening inside the shoe? I know not everyone's gonna wear those ugly barefoot shoes or whatever, but you know, you can spend some more time barefoot at home. Like, you know, I know some people wear socks in their home as well. That will make a difference because your socks are still constricting. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about stuff like that. Like we evolved for like 2.5 million years to walk on 2 feet, and we traverse land bipedal. We're bipedal organisms. We walk on 2 feet. We're not quadrupeds. We don't walk on 4 foot, or we don't sit all day. Like that's not what we evolved to do. Like run, sprint, you know. walk, move, throw, squat, just play. Like if you see a kid running around, falling, it's nothing to them. They can get in crazy positions like that you could never get in like your 30s. 30-year-old is very young, you know. How can I as a 22-year-old, like, for example, not squat with a butt wink or not throw in the most efficient way I should be able to? And like some movements there are that I can't do that a kid can do. There's a certain position I saw my nephew sit in, like I was like, I can't get in that position. Like I've seen like 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds, they can't fully squat. Like my little sister, she can't fully squat. There's adults, they can't squat fully. They're like in their 20s and 30s. That's hella young. Why can't you fully deep squat? What is it that's leading us to this? And it's our modern lifestyle. Sitting all day, you know, moving less, like spending a lot of time indoors, like not enough time in the sun. That's gonna affect your mental health, you know. Again, that stuff is talked about a lot, but stuff like moving a lot and, you know, breathing through your nose, spending time having a cold shower in the morning. I swear down, if you're ever having a bad day, try a cold shower. It will change your day. Personally, it does for me. You can have a go. You don't have to believe anything I say. You can try it out yourself. You can pull out the sole of your shoe. You can have a cold shower. You can breathe through your nose. You can tape your nose for 2 days and see how you feel. You know, all these things. Don't believe me. Yeah, have a look at your own life and see if you see your posture go down. Have your chest up and see if you make it feel a difference. Like make your ribs bigger and like walk around like that. You feel different. Sorry, got interrupted again. Have your expand your ribs. You know, make sure your joints are all stacked up. Have a look in the mirror. How do you walk? Record yourself. I bet you don't. How you run and how you walk, and all of this stuff. You don't look the way you think you do. You know, when I would run, I would think, oh, I look so efficient. Then when I record it, I'll look terrible. Or my gym, for example, if I'm squatting or anything, I would think I'll look good, and then I'll record it and be like, oh shit, like there's so many like ways my form is inefficient and like where I'm leaking torque, like leaking power. Do you know what I mean? Like where I'm not creating enough torque, where I'm not creating enough like good mechanical movement. Do you know? A lot of our stuff, a lot of our proprioception is very terrible because of the time we spent like indoors and, you know, not moving. So I feel like we can spend a lot more time. This is what I'm gonna post later. We can spend a lot more time having a look at, like, just record yourself sitting. Do a time lapse of you sitting for like an hour here and look at it and look how terrible your posture is. Like, just that video I made on Insta like a couple of weeks ago, like that video of my eyes, like, oh, I literally sit like this and I don't even realize it. It's affecting you in ways you might not even realize. Record yourself, have a look at yourself in the mirror. Even then it's very difficult, but ask other people how your posture looks. So many ways. Don't believe me, have a look at yourself. But anyway, I thought I'd have a little talk about how our evolution is. It's important to like have a look at how we spent like 99% of our evolutionary process, because that is what we evolved to be. That's how we evolved to move. You know, if I started climbing trees, like my body would not react well. Do you know what I mean? If I sit on the floor, if I sit on the chair all the time, my body's not going to react well. There's a reason for that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you did. But yeah, I've got a little written part as well. You can read that. It's pretty much the same stuff, but I think in when I'm talking, it's way more like, I just feel like it's way more connecting. Do you know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoy. Anyway, take care. Love.